for today. I took two trades, one loss and one break even. Overall, I'm down like 500 something. I'm not sure exactly how much, but yeah, let's get into those trades. So, going into today, I was leaning more bearish than bullish. Now, why? Because I recognize, obviously, we've just absolutely skyrocketed this entire week from, literally Sunday evening open till now. We've gone straight up. And what caught my eye this morning was this untapped 4 hour gap that was pretty close to where price was, and I was looking to potentially see a move there. Now, at market open, we have this little 1 minute here, and I was looking at this. This was also an SMT, so ES had already taken out this high here. So we had this bearish SMT here going into market open, and then this little 1 minute fair value gap here ends up getting ran, but I do not take this entry because I don't like this right here. So notice market opens here, NQ comes up, and yes, this is an SMT. ES had already taken this, but I still just don't like it. So let me quickly go back on ES and show what I'm talking about. So this was the highest here. So at market open here, ES. Okay, am I tweaking? Yeah, ES hadn't even taken this either. So yeah, this was just, I just didn't like this. I did not like there was no manipulation here. Market opens, we trade higher, but we leave this high intact, and then we get this inverse. So that's why I didn't like this trade, because it did not manipulate the high, and this shows me that whatever happens here is likely to be manipulation, and we're very likely going to go sweep this high. So this 1 minute inverse fails, we come up, we end up sweeping the high. Now once we sweep this high, then I'm like, okay, both high, we end up sweeping both of these highs. So this high gets taken here, this internal high gets taken on NQ, and I recognize all of this generated sell side here. We've got London low here, and we've just taken out London high. So I'm like, okay, I want to see an inverse fair value gap here. So what happens is we end up putting in a 2 minute inverse right here. If I mark this out, this 2 minute bullish fair value gap gets put in, and then I'm looking to see this get displaced through. So at this point, okay, I don't know why this is glitching. Okay. Okay, so at this point, we trade higher. We put in the 2 minute bullish fair value gap, and I'm looking to see the inverse. So we end up trading through this. Went a little bit too far, but we end up trading through this, and we get this 2 minute closure here, and this is where I take my short. And I also like that we close below midnight open. So we're just quickly recap. Market opens, we trade higher, we manipulate London high, we take out buy side. And then I'm looking to see the reaction of buy side. I want to see a lack of displacement higher, and then I want to see the market start to sell off. I mark out the highest time frame for value gap in this price leg, which is the 2 minute. We get beautiful displacement below this. I take my short here, and my stop is somewhere here. I think it was like above the fair value gap, and I'm looking to see all of this low resistance sell side get ran through, and I'm looking to see London low. Now we end up getting a really nice initial sell off here, and as soon as I see this sell off that lacks, like, I don't like this recovery at all right here, and I don't like this either. So as soon as I see this, I'm like, okay, this is not what I like. So my entry point was like, it was like here, and my stop was here. I actually moved my stop to break even, because basically my thought process here is, I don't like, after this efficient of a move, I don't want to see this rebalance here. Like, this doesn't make sense to me. If after this much displacement, this should just continue lower. So this ends up getting break even stopped, and it would have been a loss because, like I said, my stop was at the top of this imbalance. So this gets stopped at break even, and at this point, I'm like, okay, maybe we run through this, but I was already not liking this at all, because I just don't. I think we also had like a small bullish SMT at the low, but like I said, I just don't see a reason for that trade, that particular setup, to not play out. And let me go see where ES was at this time. Yeah, see, ES had actually taken out this low, so we had this small internal bullish SMT here, and then we also had this, like, this displacement. Like, notice this is not like a 1 minute candle that comes up to, rebalance, leave a big bullish wick and then sell off. Like, we're closing bullish candles here. We're creating bullish structure after putting in an SMT. I just don't like this. I don't like the way this looked at all. So, which is why I moved my stop to break even. So that can move stopped at break even. Now I don't see how this doesn't play out. I mean, obviously in hindsight, I see how, and I'll tell you in a second. But this was a very good trade. I'm not at all disappointed in this uh, trade here. I think it was really good. I think it was a good setup. I waited for the manipulation. I waited for the 2 minute inverse. We had clear draws lower. We had the untapped 4 hour gap here. And this was just overall a good setup that does not play out. So when I see that this doesn't play out, I'm like, okay, I don't really want to take anything else on NQ today, because if this doesn't play out, nothing else is going to. Is basically what I was thinking. Because I was, like I said, there's no reason for this to not play out. Is was my opinion in the moment. So NQ just ends up jacking around. Now what I end up doing is I switched to ES because I noticed this high. Notice when the market with NQ is right here, and we take out this high, ES is nowhere near it. So if I go back on the ES, NQ sweeps out that high. ES does not. So we put in this bearish SMT here. And I'm like, okay. Um, we also had a 5 minute fair value gap right here. So I was like, okay, I'm wanting to see ES come tap this 5 minute. And it was before this that I started looking at ES. As soon as my trade got break even stopped, like right here on this candle. So when ES was right here, where my cursor is when I stopped looking at NQ and I started looking at ES, because like I said, if this doesn't play out, nothing, then nothing is. It's very unlikely that we're going to get another short on NQ, because this should have been the move to do it if we were going to get that sell off. So at this point at 8:47, I switch to ES and I mark out this 5 minute fair value gap, and I say I want to see the market tap this. So we have this bearish 5 minute that ends up getting put in a second here, right there. So bearish 5 minute fair value gap gets put in, and I'm like, okay, I want to see now that ES, like, look, I mean, this just looks like a very clean short, right? Like we come up, we sweep the highs, displace slower, 5 minute change, 5 minute fair value gap. We got these inverse fair value gaps here. This just altogether looks really good to me. So I'm like, okay, I want to see ES come up and tap this 5 minute. So we end up chopping around a little bit. I was looking at this sell off here because it was looking like we're going to invert this, but I said, I'm not interested in this. I want to see the 5 minute get tapped. So I continue to wait. ES ends up tapping the 5 minute. Now, this right here is what I don't like. What I wanted to see initially is a tap and then lack displacement higher and immediately start to sell off. Now, this was not, this was making me skeptical about shorts here, because I don't like how we start to trade through this and then the 5 minute candle actually ends up closing above the 5 minute gap. So right here, as you can see, the 5 minute candle closes above. Now we do end up getting a little bit of a sell off here, but this initial candle does not invert the 2 minute. So notice we don't close below this 2 minute here. Hang on, this next candle is where the 2 minute candle closed. So notice 902 right here fails to inverse this, and we end up holding this for the time being. Now, what we do is we open up this 1 minute bearish, come into it, and we start to sell off a little bit. And here's where I made my mistake. I took my short right here because I saw that we're rejecting this. We should close below this 2 minute inverse. We've got the SMT. We've got the bigger time frame imbalance. We've got all of these equal lows right here. And at this point in time, initially, for my short, I was wanting to take ES all the way down here, or NQ, whichever asset I ended up shorting. But after I see this trade not play out on NQ, I'm like, okay, this is probably going to be a less efficient day. So me knowing that it's going to be less efficient, I was going to take a smaller, more confident move, which is just these lows here. So on this trade here with ES, I was only going to target towards these lows. So, but here, like I said, here's where I made my mistake. I did not wait for the 2 minute candle to close. So this 2 minute fair value gap never gets closed below. But I slapped my entry short here when we were rejecting the 1 minute, and I was just assuming that we were going to start to flush here because we had the SMT, because we had the bigger time frame imbalance, and because we had this generated sell side. So this was my trade. Looked something like this. I had my stop at this internal high right here, and I was wanting to see the market, seriously, I was wanting to see the market flush through all of this low resistance sell side. Now this does not end up playing out. This gets stopped. We get this big sell off here, looking great, and then the market just comes up and stops me out. Now, I did not go break even, by the way. I was going to go break even like once this low or this low was taken here. So this was a loss. Now, like I said, what did I do wrong? I did not wait for the inverse. So the 2 minute candle never closes below this gap. So I technically didn't follow my model on this trade, and I broke my rules because I didn't wait for the inverse fair value gap. And if I would have waited, it would have saved me from taking this loss. So that is the mistake that I made today, and that's what I want to take from today going into tomorrow and the days to follow is just wait for the model. Like, don't try to predict it. Like this is an example of me being more focused on my idea of what I want to see price do, as opposed to observing the market and being reactive to what it actually does. So because I was hooked on the idea of shorts, I wanted to see the market sell. So instead of waiting, so I just slapped my entry short instead of waiting for what the market should do if we are bearish, right? Because that's what your mindset needs to be when you're actively looking at the market. You need to say, if we are bearish here, we've got this SMT, we've got this bigger time frame for value gap. If we are bearish, we should close below this 2 minute. Notice we never close below the 2 minute. But like I said, I took my entry early and I ended up getting stopped. Now, another thing that I want to say is like there are going to be days like this where it looks like there's an obvious model, it looks like there's a really clean draw, and the trades just simply don't end up playing out. Now, in hindsight, like I said, why does this trade end up failing? Why do both trades that I took today fail? And why was the market just not clean? Because ES was completing the higher time frame model. So I mean, it might have already done it by now, but it's obvious that we're going to take this high today. And like as you can see, this clear market maker buy model that we've been in since like the beginning of March or the end of February, actually, we've been in this market maker buy model, and it's extremely close to getting complete. And that is why these trades failed today, because the market was just extremely bullish overall, and we just wanted to see higher. Now, on a better day with cleaner price action, we would have got this sell-off to give us internal manipulation, tap the 4-hour gap, which is this low here, and then that would, we'd be moving from external range liquidity to internal range liquidity, and then either the PM session or tomorrow we would get that expansive move to complete this higher time frame model. But obviously that did not end up happening. The market was just extremely non-efficient today, and we end up trading higher towards all of these highs, which is why these moves don't play out. So that's just what I want to kind of highlight today is the importance of just staying like preserving capital on days like this. Like it would have been so easy for me to just take that initial break even on NQ that I feel like should have been a win because it was such a clean trade, and then just like see this sell off here and then end up getting stopped and then just crash out and try to revenge trade and end up just trading all this chop, which is what I used to do all the time. But like you have to just be able to control yourself and accept losses. But losses are part of the game. You have the best traders are the best losers, right? Like you have to be able to take losses. You have to be able to manage your risk, stay patient, and trust that good opportunity will come if you are patient and you wait for it. But yeah, like I said, like the reason that this trade fails is because ES is obviously extremely bullish, and we were going to this high. So yeah, we'll just see what happens tomorrow. Pretty frustrating day, honestly, because I mean that, like I said, that trade on NQ was actually really clean. I feel like this should have played out. I don't see. I mean, like literally, this is what it looked like in the moment. Like I don't see how this trade doesn't play out. Like we've got the manipulation, we've got the beautiful 2 minute inverse, very clean delivery from the inverse, all of this low resistance sell side, London low resting here, break of structure, changing the state on the 5 minute, like everything was looking great here. And then this just simply does not play out. And like I said, when I see this move, I'm like, okay, if this short doesn't play out, I'm not interested in anything on NQ, which is why I switched to ES. Also, remember ES was the more bearish asset because when NQ was taking out this high, ES was still all the way down here. So ES was not taking out this high when NQ was, and ES had this 5 minutes. So I was looking to see the continuation lower on ES just to sweep out these lows before getting that move higher. Because I was expecting to see a move higher overall today because of the bigger time frame model. But I was trying to trade the rebalance. I was trying to trade the move to go sweep internal lows and potentially top the 4-hour gap. But like I said, obviously trade doesn't end up playing out, and we're fixing to go take this high. So yeah, that's today's recap.